Now in today's video I have this rather ancient, dirty old, beaten up AWA record player. It's a model OS70. These used to be quite common once upon a time, probably sort of predates compact cassette being much of a thing. Doesn't even have a radio in it, it's basically just a record player and an amplifier, so pretty much made for kids and stuff. Used to see them around quite a bit, but not many of them around anymore. I don't think. They were pretty sort of cheap and nasty really, but did the job. But this is one I saved from a abandoned house that was all falling down, and I saw this and I thought, oh, there's one of those things. I haven't seen one of those in a while, I'll save it. But I don't think it's going to do an awful lot. Doesn't have a bottom on it. There goes the turntable. It's rusty and horrible. Quite a basic design. Transistors are past the germanium ones. They're into the, looks like they're C458 2SCs and the little flat pack TA92s, and I assume there's actual ICs in there, are there? So we've got a couple of possibly TDAs or TAs or something ICs, maybe Hitachi ones. Well, there could be an HA, I think. It'll be interesting to have a quick look at. Says, I think, 8 watts total power. Interesting, with a 100 volt motor. I think some of these did, so that should be stepped down by this transformer. I think there's a winding on the transformer to step that down. What have we got here? Oh, 8 ohm speaker connector. Don't know what you'd call that type of connector, but it's a 4-way. I think they used to come, they used to have the plastic speakers for these, were quite common as well. They had some black plastic speakers. We've got a great big idler here. Here's the motor. The motor still turns amazing. Not sure what sort of, it's got 58 or something, sort of mechanism this is. It may well be a made in Japan one or something. Stylus SJN-1. I doubt that's any good. No, she's bent right off to the side. That's had a hard life, not surprisingly. Might be able to bend it back and get something out of it. I think these are just a ceramic cartridge, so not very hi-fi basically, but did the job. Before I set the turntable, set it to its horizontal something position correctly. Just to gear the part without teeth facing the center. What part without teeth? Oh, there. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense, so that this meshes into it. Grease isn't the best, but runs pretty well for a rusty, dirty old thing. 33 and 45 and off. Oh, well, now I've got a problem. That doesn't seem to do anything. Oh, that is seized. So is the bass, the treble. That's the on off. That one still turns at least. I've got a microphone input, so you must have been able to plug a mic in and hear yourself talk out of the thing. So it did have something more than just a turntable. Got a rusty old headphone socket, 8 watts total music power, mic mixing. I see you could actually sing along, so this is like an early, I guess we could say early karaoke. And it says AWA IC, separate stereo system. Auto return, mic mixing, yeah, so at least they had auto return on it. What does this thing do? Just hold the arm. Not sure. Well, actually, it's going to stop the arm. Got to lift it over that. Yeah, what does this thing do? No idea. Well, we don't want it there. Huh, interesting. And what's this? That's the auto cut. It's seized up again. So you could just flick that and it would bring the thing back, so you didn't have to handle the stylus, so that would have had a little thing there to lift it up. That's broken off. So yeah, quite a crude old thing, but I guess we could hook it up and see if I can get anything out of this thing. I think it's reasonably safe. Yeah, is it the auto cut thing? Oh, it's something auto return. Oh, that's the auto return lever. So the motor should at least turn. We've got a switch that's activated when you move the stylus to anywhere but one position. It seems to should start the motor up. Oh, I'll plug it in and see what happens. Nothing. Oh, Got to switch my bench back on. Let's turn it on and see what it does. Nothing. Oh, well, we've got to turn it on probably, don't we? It's got an on-off switch on the pot. Oh, motor's running at least. Although, of course, the idler isn't. Oh, it's probably my fault because I pushed it out there. Now it's left the show, and now I think we've seized the motor. That probably, I'm getting black off something here, so I've seen the old, oh yeah, the motor's going there. Yeah, it's not the best, but it should run, you would think. Oh, there we go. Actually, I've probably got the black grease off the middle of this unit where there's, yeah, that shaft there. I must have touched that at some point or something related to it. Yeah, the idler's not quite coming in to touch the metal. You can hear it scraping on it a bit. So we really need to fix that idler arm. That's, if I push that right in, can I get the piece in there? There's the next problem. Too far in. Yeah, I don't think that's really going to work, is it? Hard to line the hole up. Still too far. Oh, that got it. That should at least turn a little bit. Not the best, but given the idler isn't really pulling in properly, that's not bad. And given the condition of this thing, we're doing pretty well. That volume is stuck. Don't really care about the bass and stuff, so I guess we could see if there's any audio out of this thing. Maybe I should cut that old connector off, or can I connect to that? Well, I'll check for DC on the output first. So this may have, it looks like it's, is it capacitor coupled? I don't know. Check if our little chips are still intact, whether they're actually running at all, who knows. But I wouldn't be surprised if this thing actually works. I think it's mainly mechanical problems used to, or getting broken or whatever was what caused problems. That got 5 volts. And that's got 5 volts. Chances are that'll disappear if we short it out. I'll just stick a resistor in there. Or in both of them, so if we can discharge those caps. Just being careful because there is a bit of high voltage motors and stuff in these things, but yeah, it's gone down by the look of it. Well, we've started her up. The arms dropped obviously. Yeah, so they've dropped down. We should be at least able to tap on the stylus and probably get some sort of noise out of it. Or maybe plug into the mic socket or something, but I should be able to just shove these into the sockets. Yeah, heard a little bit of a noise there. Well, we've got something. And sure enough, what's left of the stylus? At least one channel. Oh, there goes the other one coming in. Oh, because I've turned that one right down. A bit of hiss there. Yeah, got both channels working. Amazing. Bit noisy on start up and turn off. Very crude. Well, I'm not at all surprised that it actually works. It's got a good motor. Be interesting to have a look and see if we can do anything with these. I'll pull it off and get rid of it. If the stylus was better, it'd be worth getting it going to see if we can get a record to play on it, but given the condition of that, I'm not sure it's worth the bother. But it probably would have made a good little amplifier for workshop use or something back in the day. You could probably bypass the equalisation. Ugh, I don't want to come off. Oh god. The equalisation on the turntable side of things. Maybe in through that mic socket. I don't know if that mic only looks mono, but bloody hell, that's some corrosion under there. I'm going to break the plastic before that comes off. Or bend the pop shaft till it breaks. That's coming, it's coming. Look at that corrosion, my god. How do we... Oh, don't tell me the bolts hold the nuts hold the... I can't even see them. There's so much muck in there, but I reckon the nuts down in here somewhere hold the thing together. Oh yeah, wow. That is some muck. Yeah, that's it, I think. That's why you leave these things where you see them. Okay, what are we looking at here? 10mm it is, I think. Well, these probably were getting into the metric era. Either that, it's very close to a 10mm, but it's imperial. Is that off? I think that's loose. That jumped off. That is corroded. Feels like it's loose. That one's quite good. Circuit board's moving around in there somewhere, it must be getting it loose. Oh, now you're supposed to get the nuts off when you pull this board through. Are they going to stay there? You probably have to use something magnetic, I guess. Oh, you can lift them out unless they're not brass. That would have made life difficult. Could get with a pair of pliers or something anyway, but that's probably easier. I think we need to undo the socket as well. Oh, that's corroded tight as well. Okay, we're going to have to use some big pliers, I think. That's butchering it a bit, but what can I do? I guess the other option might be just to cut the wiring off. I mean, it's brass, you'd think brass would last better than that. Both parts are brass because I've scraped them. I don't know if we need to take the headphones off as well, but oh jeez, yeah, they've had their day. So I think the mic will just chop it. And that's the, got a couple of mini, I'm going to have to cut this other wire, I think, which is part of the mic socket too, so maybe, well, that's not stereo, is it? It must be, they've melted plastic over it. broken now. Get this shielded cable so I've got a bit more length on it. Yeah, disgusting. What is all that muck in there? Who knows? Well, here's the circuit board. A rather dirty one at that. Yeah. It's got EE2206 on it. So whether AWA actually made this or whether it was some imported thing, it looks like it was probably imported. How do I get these heatsinks? So there's two screws, but you've got on the side of the chips. Is that what I'm seeing here? Yeah, so that's a little phono equalisation stage here in preamp. I mean, you could always hook straight into the volume controls probably, or I guess you want to get the tone controls in the circuits. This would be the preamp. What does it come out of? There's a couple of things here. Yeah, into one pot. Oh, wait, which pots are which? They're the tone. Oh no, they're the volumes. Oh, so the tone comes after that, does it? What are they doing here? Maybe that's what they've done. So you could have just hooked it. Yeah, it looks like you could probably just hook into these pots on these end tabs. So then it comes out of there, comes across here, through an electro, into the amplifier. So where's the tone hooked up to? Tone control, that's just a very crude one, I think. It's just between, really? The pot just goes, had two tabs to ground, one tab goes to a capacitor here, and that just goes to the volume control board, look at it, where the input comes in from the preamp. And I assume this one's just as crude, it looks like it is. Two to ground, one comes back through here, we've got an electrolytic capacitor, or two, and what's that, another green cap or something? Maybe three electrolytics, or does it go into that resistor? Goes through an electro, I think, into this resistor. That goes to that chip though. Doesn't seem to go to the other chip. Resistor goes to the second pin up there. Second pin up there goes into some similar arrangement. Oh yeah, and then there's a wire. I don't know, that goes to headphones. Not sure, but they're very crude tone controls. We have TOWA, tower or something. TOWA. Capacitors, looks like most of them are TOWAs. So I reckon this whole thing was made in Japan or somewhere. Unfortunately, it didn't have a model number on the back or anything, just as 8 ohms. Oh, AWA model of Japan, yeah, ISO, screws, Japan. Model OS70, AC240. Power consumption 14 watts, so this is a Japanese, would be a pretty early. I'd just assume that turntable would be a Japanese design. Looks pretty Japanese. Quite neat and tidy and all the rest. No doubt this came out under other brands then. And I think we are going to find there some sort of HA chip. I might pull one off and see what the hell it is. Because we come this far, they might actually be worth salvaging. Once upon a time I would have bothered to keep stuff like that, but they're only mono chips. But they're getting pretty old and rare these days, I would think. Unfortunately, whatever markings that had on it are rusted off. I think most of this is just going in the scrap metal. But when I saw it, I thought, God, I haven't seen one of those for a very long time. I thought I'd better save it. Just to record it for history, I guess, is about all it's good for. I'm sure someone out there's got a good one of these somewhere, maybe, but they were kind of getting thrown out in the 80s and stuff. So not many people would have hung on to them. They're not exactly quality, and the kids all went to, you know, boom boxes, cassette players, and Walkmans and stuff, and of course eventually to CD. So these would have been handy in the days when you could really just buy stuff on singles on record and stuff more than anything. And that kids could listen to their pop music singles on something like this and not mess with the parents' good system. And most of these chips of this era used to have a couple of tabs that soldered to the circuit board, but maybe these guys, I guess they kind of have got those little wings that hang out. Yeah, a lot of the times they would just be bent down into the circuit board, but maybe they decided to go a bit better. Ooh, it's got some muck on the pins of that chip. That's in pretty reasonable condition, I think. So there we have it, HA1313, that sounds familiar. I seem to remember seeing these in something, but I think maybe car radios used them or something. If it's a mono one, you just have one. If it's stereo, you might have two, and just a piece of heatsink formed up around it. I probably would have had some of these I salvaged out of something once upon a time, before I got rid of a lot of the old stuff. But yeah, I might even save those two out of it. Knobs are not really all that good, but might be worth hanging on to for now. I mean, technically even those potentiometers would have been worth saving, but since they're all seized up, don't think they're Noble brand. Don't think I'll even think about worrying about those. Nice old switch pot, that could probably be salvaged and reused, but what is it, 5k? Don't think I'll bother. Doubt the motor's worth keeping, doubt any of it's not in this condition. But the motor and the transformer can go in the recycling. I assume that's steel. Maybe if that comes off easy, that can go in the scrap steel bin. And I'll pinch these chips. And I guess some of the wiring can come out and the rest can go to the dump, basically. Anyway, I thought it'd be worth a look just at another really old piece of gear to see how well it had survived. And with a bit of lubrication on the pots, this thing probably could have been made functional again. A bit of lubrication on some of these parts in the turntable. There's the idler bit that's seized up, so that just needs that taking off and lubricating. And you know, if you could get a decent stylus for it, it would probably work again. Not that it would be much good when it was working, but more than a novelty piece. But these are sort of in that era of the sort of plasticky, maybe late 60s, 70s, probably even mid 70s or something, era that nobody really cares about much. Maybe now they're getting a bit more trendy, but it's not the sort of peak era, this sort of moulded plastic. I guess it probably is more likely 70s with that much of a plastic case in it. But oh well, I'll pinch that other chip out of it and I think the rest can go for scrap. Thanks for watching.